Hello and welcome to Tabletop 24. I'm Alan.
I'm John.
I'm Brian.
And welcome to another episode of We'll Play Again, where we take a look at games that have recently gotten to the table with a view on how quickly we're going to get them back to the table. With time being precious and ever-growing collections, we ask the question of what do we play again? Today we have Rolling Realms from Stonemaier Games. Rolling Realms is a roll and write, pretty much as the title says, and you'll be rolling through all of the realms that are available in some of the Stonemaier games and some others, but we'll get to that bit later. You'll be playing over the course of 3 rounds, each round consisting of 9 dice rolls, and you will have to start with in each round 3 different realms, so 3 of these here. So for instance, we would have Charterstone, Scythe, and Between Two Cities, and each player has the exact same setup, so we will all play with those 3 cards in that round. We'll roll the dice, and then you will put 1 result on one of the cards and 1 result on another one of the cards, effectively leaving 1 realm unplayed each round. Now, each round is completely different, so the rule set for each of these realms is completely different. So you'll be doing things such as in between 2 castles, you are looking to fill them from bottom up, and you need to put low numbers at the bottom, high numbers at the top, whereas Wingspan, you are looking to get numbers that match the total wingspan of the birds. All in all, trying to gain stars from the criteria at the bottom of each realm that will build up your points as you go through the 3 rounds to get you to the most stars. The person with the most stars is the winner. Round 2, we'll get rid of the 3 realms that we started. We get 3 more realms, and round 3, we'll get 3 more realms. So over the course of the game, you'll be playing with 9 of those. There is also a solo variant, which is great because it's designed on mini golf. There's specific challenges using specific realms, which is great if you just want to play it solo. So the game does play up to 6. Everybody's got a set of all of the realms with a scoring card, and also these bonuses which you can get from marking off different squares, boxes, or items in each of the realms and spending them to adjust die results or getting extra plays out of dice and stuff like that. And you get those. Everybody's got the same. These are sort of a plastic type card, so you'll be writing on with it with a whiteboard marker, and also get a bit of cloth with it as well. But in a nutshell, that is Rolling Realms.
So it was originally produced by Jamie Stegmaier in lockdown, pandemic lockdown, as a freebie print and play, available for everybody when they were stuck at home on their own playing. They could play it over Zoom, and this suits remote playing in that sort of situation absolutely fine. It's nice to have a full release and a big box, for want of a better word, because that's what it is. Limited edition number, nice production value, extra chunky, massive dice. They're absolute. They're fantastic. They're fantastic. So yeah, it's a nice production values for essentially what was a freebie giveaway.
Yeah, I think it gives a nice flavour for the other kind of Stonemaier games that are out there. And you can sort of see, if you know those games, how the score mechanism for each card tied in with that game.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it can give you a bit of a teaser almost for picking up another game that you may have heard of but don't know much about. Obviously, they're nowhere near as detailed as a real game, so often you think, oh, maybe I should just be playing the main game.
Yeah.
But it's this nice homage to the other games, I think.
Yeah, it gives you a nice flavour. The cards do give you a flavour of the actual gameplay of the games, which is the good thing about it. We all bemoan when Terra Mystica comes out because it's one of the tougher ones, but it gives you a flavour of playing Terra Mystica.
Yeah. So on a little bit on that, there is a positive and negative to that. So Scythe, for anybody that's familiar, you are taking a top row action and potentially a bottom row action on your player board. So with the realm, you will be taking the top row action and then being able to take the bottom row action. So it's very thematic to that. However, on the flip side, you've got the Society, which is based on the Red Rising game. Obviously, you couldn't quite get the license just for Rolling Realms. But it's thematic in the sense of, in Red Rising, there's a hierarchical society with more people at the lower end and the elite few at the top. But it doesn't actually mix directly with the mechanics of Red Rising. I think it'd be very hard to. in that sense. But it does give you a flavour of what the theme is overall, and I think between two castles gives you the idea that you've got to balance the castles out. Wingspan, again, you're not playing birds, but you're trying to collect things in a specific order, which again you are in Wingspan. Now there are additional realms, so these are the ones that are in the base game. I think there's 11 in total. There's a further 6 which have been released as expansions. And we mentioned Terra Mystica. Obviously, if you're familiar, Terra Mystica isn't a Stonemaier game. So you've got Terra Mystica, I think Feast for Odin and Honeybuzz that aren't Stonemaier games that have been licensed expansions. So they have the full support of those publishers, those designers. But the rest are the Stonemaier brand. So we can just see that these are going to grow and grow and grow. We're going to get more of these. I do fear that there might come a point where there's not many more mechanics we can squeeze into a card that blends with other cards.
You've got 2 dice to roll.
Yeah.
Apply numbers to them. So, as you said, what can you do with that?
Yeah.
I
think it's fantastic that it's 17.
To a point, that you might find yourself repeating things. And I think it's fair to say that maybe you mentioned it before, but not all these cards are built equal. So some are easier to fill in than others.
Yeah,
now,
very much so.
The good thing about that is you've all got the same set of cards. They're all equally suffering or equally benefiting. But it can mean that some cards you sort of almost kind of ignore.
Yeah, and you can really get penalised by the dice roll. So in certain ones, so for instance, the Society, each card number must be lower than the number directly above it. So you're building up the Society, so the high numbers are at the top. If your first few rolls are low and you go, right, I'm going to go in there, but the rest of the rolls are low, you're really going to struggle to fill out that card. Or vice versa, if your first rolls are high, you're going to struggle to fill out the lower numbers. Obviously, on this one, it's a little bit different because you can place the numbers anywhere. But if you have to build the numbers up, it can be a bit of a challenge.
There's something to be said about repeat plays of this game and picking up those tips of the scoring, so you know. There's never ever going to be a perfect way to play any of these cards because you've got the randomness of the dice. But it does bear repeated plays just to find the ways, the scoring strategies to get the most out of the cards and get the most stars that you can.
But still, by the same token, you've got the variety that actually, with all these expansions, you're picking 3 out of 17 to start with. Then you're picking 3 out of the remaining 14, and then 3 out of the remaining 11. That actually, what are the odds that you are going to play with the same 9 realms in the 3-round order? Yeah. There are key ones that really do bounce off of each other very well, and you can get really high scoring games. But because everybody's playing with the same realms, everybody's got a high scoring. If they've played it right,
and therein lies the rub, because you've got to know those strategies, and once you've got those, everybody's going to be potentially playing the same thing. But because you've got 3, if there's a couple that are playing different ways, you're going to be all playing in different ways to get the different scores.
Taking Terra Mystica for an instance, it's quite easily designed that you start off at either end of the board and you need to connect a route across to get the maximised points out of it. Now, if you roll a 1-5-4-3, you're probably going to spend it on that early on. But if those numbers don't come out early, you can't do too much with that. Yes, you could get the 2 and the 6, which are the missing numbers, to build the buildings, which are going to give you benefits. But if you're not building that route early on enough, you probably will struggle with it.
I don't think we've ever played it where anybody has linked the 2 cities to get that star. It's difficult to score stars, but there's other ones where you're just ticking them off really easily.
And the other part of it is you are going to be gaining these pumpkins, these hearts, and these coins from different parts of each card, because some of them you get it for placing it in a box, some of them you have to really link it up and get to the right point there. But these allow you to adjust dies or give you an extra die for that game. And actually how you use those, I think, is more important than what order you do them in.
Keeping your eye on it, because many a times I've not I could have put another 3 there, or I could have changed that dice to that, and it's just remembering those. You need to keep your eye on those. Expansions for days. Infinite number of games, but on the flip side, as you said, how many different ways can they design to play those?
Yeah, and I think the big thing about this is the theme of each of the realms. Now, we have said that the theme is very loose. It's really nice that you've got that little bit of theme there. Like the Rolling Realms one really focuses on die faces and getting you the right set in the die face. Obviously, with the Scythe one, you're getting the top and the bottom action if you perform it in the right order. There were a lot of things in here. My little Scythe, you're using the hexagons to gain benefits. Viticulture, you're really using the grapes to get the best of your wine. So the themes in there is great. There's only going to be so many times you can link those to the mechanics in what is quite really a very small rule set.
Yeah.
So if you take these cards in isolation, it's very small. I think in how you can go much further with it. But I think it's fantastic they've got 17. I'd hopefully imagine they've got a load more, but they have just brought out. I think it was 3 in the last sort of 2 months.
What are they? £4 a pack, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, they're not inexpensive. And yeah, I think there is massive recommendations if you're ever going to pick up the expansions, pick them up in multiples.
Yeah.
Even I think Stonewall themselves say don't buy one at a time because it costs you so much.
Postage and packaging is not extortionate, but it's a lot.
It's a fair price on it, but considering all you're getting a pack of cards.
What's the Stonemaier
Champions?
Yeah, it's probably worth saving up and then buying between yourselves,
which is what we've done. So John's got a copy of this game, I've got a copy of the game, and when we wait for we wait for 2 or 3 to release like we've just done, and we pick them up in sets. So you can keep expanding it. And hopefully there'll be a lot more. Now that they're out licensing, like I say, Peace for Odin, Honey Buzz, Terra Mystica licensing out to other publishers. Hopefully we'll see some other things that come in there. And maybe we've already got mechanics that they just need the game to apply it to, which would be great.
Yeah.
One thing I did really, really, really want to note on this is learn and the teach. So the learn, all you have to know is about the benefits that you're going to get, the fact that you're rolling the dice, and the fact that you're going to have different realms over 3 rounds. And then what you can do is learn and teach the specific realms that you are going to be playing. Because again, 17 realms, 8 of those you're not going to see, okay, in the game. So if you're picking this up with somebody that's never played it before, you can go through. And actually, even for us, where we've just picked up these new expansions, I wouldn't explain them until we drew them. Because when we play, we randomise, we shuffle and deal through.
It's not worth teaching all 17.
No, because people are going to get confused about it.
And they've got the explanation on the card as well. It's quite compact and quite, concise. So you can just literally read the card. Oh yeah, this is what this does, and then play.
One thing we've found really useful that if you do this is to talk aloud about the explanation of the card, so that everybody is on the same page. Yeah. Particularly when you've got, I think it's the Society and Between Two Castles that are essentially the same card. They just do things in reverse. Yeah. You've really got to make sure that everybody's on the same page with what's going on. Because if you're playing this with a 6th player, you're not focusing on what everyone else is doing. You're focusing on what you're doing. So just making sure that's fairly clear, I think, is safe to say.
The variety is the USP on this, isn't it? It's the differences that you're getting each time and the different setups that you're going to play. When you compare it to other roll and writes, cartographers, Ganshon Clever, it stands up, but I think I'd rather play cartographers or Ganshon Clever than this, if I'm honest. And in terms of depth, if you scratch the surface, there's pretty much nothing on the back. It's not deep. It's a filler game. Yeah. If really, maybe that's being unkind to it. Because I think you may want to play it so you see all the cards. So you may choose which you're playing. So within 2 games, you are seeing all those cards, and you'll probably return 2 cards that you like playing and stuff Terra Mystica back in the box as soon as you've played it.
You need to play it quite a few times to get the feel of it. I think I've not played it as much as I need to. I think to really get the full appreciation of the game. Yeah. But it does.
I think from a roll and write, it delivers everything you would expect it to. For a Stonemaier fan, I think it delivers more because you've got that, I know these games, I know what they're about, and I can kind of link it back. And actually, you can find yourself talking about experiences you've had in those games rather than necessarily the roll and write you've got in front of you. I think the addition of the solitaire mini golf game is fantastic. I think it's fun. Really nice sort of icing on the cake type thing. I need to play this more. I think For me now, I think roll and writes for me kind of fall off a curve. We've got so many of them out there. There are some very good ones. I think this is one of the better roll and writes because it adds a little bit more variety. But essentially, with all roll and writes, you're rolling 2 dice. Well, 2 dice in this one. You're picking results and you're putting them on your board. They give you benefits. For me, I'm more into the randomised sort of the flip and write that's like Hadrian's Wall, Twilight Inscription. Those games, I'm actually quite interested in those ones because they're a big game. They're a really gamers roll and write. But if you've got this and you were playing it with family, they won't possibly understand the references.
No.
Your grand might not get some of the
but they can play it.
They can play it, but they might again take out Terroristica.
Yeah.
They one of these would, or even 2 of those, you could have fun with those for half an hour and stuff. It could outstay its limits, but I think there's better roll and writes on the market.
I think the one big thing about this is it just comes with the Stonemaier quality.
Yeah,
and I think
the quality is lovely. And the dice are hexagons and dots that you see.
Yeah, hexes in the pips, and obviously as with most Stonemaier games, the rule books are on a linen paper and stuff like that. And you get your whiteboard pen now. There are a lot of roll and writes to give you a whiteboard pen. I must say, actually, these are pretty good quality ones.
Yeah.
So yeah, all in, fantastic production. I think there's ups and downs with it all, but it is essentially a roll and write at the end of the day. So with all that said, John, play again.
I would play it again. I'll probably play every game that I say again, but I think I would play a couple of other roll and writes over the top of this.
Like I said, I think I need to play it more to really appreciate it. A bit more. I'm going to play it a couple of times, I think. So I kind of hesitate to play this again. I think there's other roll and write games, like John said, that I've enjoyed more. It's got a nice novelty value to it, and I recognise some of the names. Oh yeah, this is good, but it's not kind of enough to really make me want to go out and go and get it into my collection.
Yeah, I think for me, I would play again. I think for me, I would probably play it solo. I think around the table with everybody, potentially with new people, I think the benefit in this for me now is the pace at which I can play it. Okay, if you're playing this round the table with nine rounds over 3 rounds, you're looking at probably 40-50 minutes, depending upon who you're playing with it. Playing it on your own, you're probably through that in 20.
Yeah,
because you're playing it at your own pace. Now, I think that possibly says a little bit about how I want to play and the pace I want to play at and get through it. But for me, I think it's a fantastic solo experience and has the ability to play multiple people. Now, the one thing that this doesn't do, that other roll and writes do, is it's capped at 6 players because you've only got 6 decks of cards.
Yeah.
Now, yes, you could print off more copies of stuff like that, but normally with a roll and write, you've got a lot in the pad, haven't you? So I think that gives it a nice thing though, because you feel like you do have a cap to it. Like you're not going to sit and play with 10 people and stuff like that.
You could never add extra one to these because how many do you give out?
Yeah.
You really couldn't.
Yeah,
you really couldn't.
So, thank you for watching this episode of We'll Play Again. If you haven't done so already, please check our other videos on the channel, give us a like and a subscribe, and we will catch you next time. Take care.
Bye-bye.